All right, welcome. This is episode three. We got a newcomer. That's right. We got a newcomer this time. So let's just kind of introduce ourselves. First off, we're all part of Hilco Homes. We're a wholesaling company here in San Antonio, and we're hosting this show, Ask Wholesale, to answer any questions and all questions and any questions that you might have out there, just to kind of spread some of the lessons we've learned along the way and just kind of have a conversation. So first off, who are y'all?
You go first.
I'll go first since I was volunteered. My name is Juan Bustos. I'm actually the acquisitions manager for Hilco Homes. Been wholesaling for a couple of years already with Marco, and that's who I am.
That was beautiful.
It
Succinct.
was. I thought so too.
I thought that was just awesome in every
it's
which way.
I don't know
What to do with your hands? Ricky Bobby?
Yeah, Ricky Bobby. I just go on.
My name is Aaron Pettis. I'm acquisitions partner with Hilco Homes, so my job is to bring in deals, bring in properties. So look for distressed properties that need a lot of work. That's what my job is to bring those things to the table. And I've been doing wholesaling with Hilco for about 3 months already. So
and you were doing it a little bit before that.
I was doing a little bit before by myself, but joining Hilco, I've learned a lot. And
it wasn't as great until
it's a lot better to work with the team
on the other
and
side.
It's a lot more fun. Also,
all right,
get to sit next to Juan the lumberjack.
The lumberjack. Actually, I just need my white frame glasses. I think I'm gonna be a hipster for Halloween.
There you go.
So that's the goal.
Okay, so we're gonna answer some questions. So let's get into it.
All right, guys. From our Facebook viewers, we have question number 1. What determines who is or isn't a motivated seller?
You hit it one. Let's see.
So I actually get that question a lot. There's people who are willing to sell that are looking for the right price, if you will. A motivated seller, though, you can tell that they're motivated if they're lacking 2 main things. Hopefully both, but if they're lacking one of the 2 things, it's lack of time, lack of money. They might need to sell their house because they need to pay hospital bills for their mom, so they need to sell the house that they inherited from their dad or whatever it may be. That's lack of money, and they need to do that like right meow.
The movie references are just
I'm
you're all over it.
Yeah, I'm all over. I'll do Mean Girls quotes. I'll do Super Troopers. Don't ask about the Mean Girls quotes. I have a girlfriend, so that's why. But so the lack of money and then lack of time. Some people might be getting a divorce and they need to sell by the time the divorce happens or by the time the divorce is completely done. So they're running out of time. So they're motivated to sell because they don't want to lose it for whatever reason it may be. Some people might be getting foreclosed on. Those people are lacking both time and money. They're getting foreclosed on by the taxes or the bank or whatever. They probably got less than a month, 45 days or less to get rid of their house. So they don't have the money to catch up on their payments, and they don't have the time to gather the money to catch up on those payments. So those are ideal motivated sellers. They're lacking on both time and money.
Yeah, very common categories for people that are motivated: divorce, inheritance. You have evictions. You have people that are being foreclosed on from the bank or from taxes, those kind of things. But really, if you kind of boil it all down, it's somebody that's willing to have a negotiation conversation with you on the particular property within a reasonable range of numbers. So if you need to be purchasing the property at $50,000 and they want $95,000, well, that's not a motivated seller. But if you need the property at $50,000 and they're at $55,000, $60,000, or even $65,000, and they're trying to have the conversation with you and move down in the right process with you, then they're typically motivated.
I would just say the same thing on top of what they said. I just got the phone right now, and the guy was like, here's the thing, I'm selling because it's my father's property and I inherited it. And so he's like, he wants to get something that he's comfortable with, but also to where he's still making enough money. So I would say like what Marco was saying, somebody who's willing to negotiate is somebody that.
Yeah, you
would
just
be
literally got that phone call. Where did that lead come from?
It came from a eviction list.
Eviction list.
We have some eviction lists that we go through, that we do some cold calling, and caught that one. And he actually had sold the one I was calling about, but then he told me that one already sold, but I actually have this one, and so he gave me the details on that one, and that's how that one came about.
Yep. So you're looking for people that are in a situation where they want to move it. So that's a motivated seller. All right.
So
next
now,
question.
our next question, guys, from Facebook is, what is the fastest way to get your first deal? I can start off with that one.
Yeah. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Well, when I was first starting out, before I joined Hilco, it's just kind of letting people know what you're doing, letting people know that you're buying ugly houses, that you're buying houses that need a lot of work. The more people that know what you're doing, the easier it is. People will just start sending you stuff right away. But another thing that I did was I looked up code violations and just looked up at everybody that was behind on taxes, like over 10 grand in taxes. And I would shoot them a letter, and then that's how I kind of got my first deal. But
and Aaron's Facebook famous, so everybody knows what he's doing all the time. It's so funny. We could be walking down the street and somebody will ask us a question, or we could be sitting here at the office and somebody will ask us a question about real estate, and like 2 minutes after they leave, Aaron's like, I think I have that guy on Facebook.
Yeah.
So pause what you're doing right now.
Said that
hit
before.
the pause button. Go look Aaron Perez, and go send him a friend request.
Send him a friend request.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a fan
If he hasn't
club,
already sent you one
probably
first.
all his friends interact with one another. So
It's the funniest thing in the world. It just, even celebrity, I think this guy's like a San Antonio celebrity. He just knows everybody. So.
Texas celebrity, man. Texas
I know, right? He's on a larger scale. He's on a whole
Well,
other level.
There you go. That's how you just let people know what you're doing, and you'll be surprised how quick you get your first deal.
He was doing Facebook Live videos of his Facebook Live videos.
Yeah.
So that's how he was getting a lot of attention.
That's how he got all that done. No, but he's not wrong. When everybody knows what you're doing, they're all gonna flock to you. Even if you tell your best friend, hey, I'm buying houses, I'm looking for these deals, he might not have one, or he might not know any, or he might not, have a house that he wants to sell, or he might not be looking for a house, but he might know somebody. That person might know somebody that, is looking for, what you're looking for. So verbalizing it is the fastest way to get your deal. Just start telling everybody, and you'll start attracting the right people. When I first started, that's what I started doing. I started verbalizing it and saying, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that. And then I started attracting the right people. And my first deal was actually a piggyback off of another wholesaler's deal. It was I think that's one of the better ways to do it, because you don't have to do all the work, and you already kind of know it's already a decent deal because another wholesaler has it under contract, so you can piggyback off those deals. I think that's one of the faster ways also to get your first deal, is just
I'm
ride off of somebody
gonna
else's.
piggyback off of you right now.
Okay. Piggyback off the piggybacker.
That's
Okay.
right. So first deal, okay? To get your first deal, to do any deal, you need two parts of the equation. You either need to get the seller side, where you're getting the property, and you also need the buyer side, where you sell the property to an investor. So you need the seller and the investor. There's two sides. The fastest way to get your own deal is to leverage one of the sides. So what I mean by that is, if you want to focus on just finding investors, then go to like a networking event and go talk to some other wholesalers that have already contracted a property with a seller, and then all you need to do is focus on finding a buyer and investor for that contract. Or do it the other way around. Go to that same networking event and say, hey, Mr. or Miss Wholesaler, you have a big cash buyer list. If I can bring a contract to you, can you help me move it? And then you just focus on getting the front end contract with the seller, and then the wholesaler that you're teaming up with can sell on the back end. So that's the way I would recommend it. Focus on one component, and then that way you can really get a deal done fast.
That's basically how I knocked out my first wholesale deal. So
Some good answers. All right, we're gonna move on to
best
our.
answers.
That's right.
These are the best answers.
That's right. Let's get it right.
We're gonna move on to our third question from Facebook. And guys, if you have any questions, just drop it down in the comments below, and we'll be free to answer it on our next episode.
That's right.
But question number 3 is, what is the best way to find cash buyers?
I can help out. I can pretty much answer that one also. It's the same thing.
This
Just
cocky guy, man. He's like, just y'all get out of here. I
Just
got all the
I'll
answers.
handle this. I have all the answers, even when I don't. No, I think it's the same thing. It's pretty much the same answer. Just start verbalizing it. Just start start telling people what you're doing, and go, like Marco mentioned earlier, go to the networking events. Start telling people that you're a wholesaler and that you've got properties that you're looking at. Even if you don't have one contracted, just let people know that you might have one coming through, and people will, as you're looking for them, people will tell you, well, I don't have anything, but I'm also looking. I am looking. Aaron was just talking about it earlier that like last week he picked up 5 new cash buyers by just asking people if they had properties, and they said, no, I don't have anything, but I am looking. So these are cash buyers that are motivated to buy. So just verbalizing it is the best way to get these cash buyers, and then touching base with them. Even when you don't have a deal, touch base with them all the time. Let them know, touch base with them, ask them what they're buying, ask them what they're up to, whatever it may be, because if they know who you are and they know that you're actively looking for deals, they're going to contact you when they need one, next time they're looking for one. So
real easy answer. First starting out, go to your courthouse auction, foreclosure auction. Here in Texas, it's the first Tuesday of every month. Go down there, have a whole bunch of business cards, and just go talk to all the people that are trying to buy up all the foreclosures. These are pretty much all investors. Go over there, get all their business cards, and boom, you'll have a good list to start with. And then from there, you can even ask, when you're communicating with them, do they know anyone else? Would they refer someone else? Investors know investors. But that's a simple, quick, easy way. You can get a whole bunch of people in a few hours.
Another way that I found a buyer recently was the zip code. I post on all the Facebook pages, the Facebook San Antonio Real Estate, Facebook San Antonio Motivated Sellers, Cash Buyers, San Antonio Cash Buyers, and I'll put, hey, who flips in 78207? Tag them. And then all these people will start tagging, or somebody will text somebody else. And then I end up getting inboxed saying, hey, send me that property in 78207. I flip in that area. Or I know somebody that flips in that area. Same thing, I'll put, who buys and holds in 78223? And you'll be surprised. I get all these email addresses or inboxed with their email and their number. They're like, send me the info. And then after that, just doing that 1 week, the list of cash buyers just kind of grows and grows and grows and grows.
I saw those posts. I almost responded to them until I realized it was you posting them. I was like, oh, look. Oh, no, never mind. I know that guy.
That's funny. But yeah, that's another way to get some cash buyers in for a specific property that you're looking for, that you have.
All right. Awesome.
All right, guys. Fourth question. What is the difference between an assignment and a double close?
I'll do this one. So real quick, an assignment is basically where you're with the seller, you've written a contract where you are the buyer in that contract, and then you write a second document that's called an assignment contract. And in that assignment contract, you are assigning your rights to your position in that contract. So as a position of the buyer, you're assigning your rights as the buyer. So the investor would basically take your position on that original contract as a buyer, and then you just collect a fee for that. That's an assignment. A double close is where there's actually a buyer and a seller closing here, which you're the buyer, you close on it, and then you have a buyer and a seller on the back end. So there's 2 transactions. So on the first transaction, you're the buyer. On the second transaction, you're the seller. This can happen in the same day. The next day, it can happen within 10 minutes. But it's a great way to, if you want to kind of hide certain details, like a lot of people, if they're making a big fee on a transaction, they don't want the seller to know they're making 20 grand on it, or they don't want the investor to know they're making 20 grand on it, then they'll do a double close. However, if you do a double close, you need to be working with a title company that knows how to do that, and be aware that there's going to be 2 sets of closing costs. So it's double as expensive compared to an assignment. We mainly do assignments. We haven't had a situation where we need to do a double close. But
I'm usually pretty honest with my investors. I tell, there's a double close, you're right. That's mostly when you don't want the seller to know how much you're making, or you don't want the buyer to know how much you're making. On an assignment, typically the seller doesn't really know how much you're making, if at all, because they just go in, sign, and all you're doing is assigning your rights over to you're assigning your position over to somebody else. So the seller isn't typically in the loop, and most of the time the seller just, as long as they get what they were asking for, as long as they get a good negotiated price that they're willing to take away, they don't care. They don't typically look any further than that. And I'm usually pretty honest with my buyers. I tell them, I mean, there's been, we're about to close on one where we're making a pretty decent fee, and the guy was like, the buyer was like, wow, you're making a lot. And I was like, well, I negotiated it.
I was there when.
Yeah, I said, yeah, well, I negotiated it, and it's still a good price at the price I'm selling it to you at. So, we're pretty upfront about what we're making, because we don't want anybody to think we're jipping them. And if that's too much, if we're making too much for their taste, then there's always other buyers that are gonna pick up that property if it's a good enough deal anyway. So we're usually pretty upfront about it when it comes to how much we're making. So in my opinion, I feel like assignments are the easier way to go, so you don't have to worry about double closings.
It's simpler, yeah.
Yeah,
it's less expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so our last question, we're adding this component now. Our last question is we're going to do a fun question, like something that isn't as related to real estate. So we want your questions, and we got this question, which is what?
What is your favorite sports team? I'll go first because he's going to steal my team.
Well, they were my team first.
I think I'm more than you.
By 2 days?
2 days, I'm more than you.
No, that still counts. He was indoctrinated earlier.
I've been watching football since I was 2 years old, so...
Not soccer, football.
Yeah, no, soccer's not real football, by the way.
Anyways, my favorite team is the Cowboys. I've always been a fan of Cowboys, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't start watching football until I was a senior in high school. So maybe you've been watching it longer, but I started watching it.
Okay, yeah. So how did they become your team? What happened?
My dad's always been a Cowboy fan since I was little. I just wasn't into football until like my senior year, and I think my senior year they had just got. I think it was in the process where right before Tony Romo was about to come in, because they had Drew Bledsoe I think before, and then they brought in Romo. And everybody was like, oh, Romo this, Romo that. And then I just kind of started watching it from there.
Romo mania.
And, And then I was, from that point forward, I started watching the Cowboys. And then the same scenario happened with Dak Prescott. Romo started getting old, and then Prescott came in. It's kind of the same thing. But that's why I'm a Cowboys fan. And I also love the Spurs, too. Now, Spurs I've been watching since.
No, you don't get two. You only get one.
Spurs I've been watching
Everybody
since
gets
forever.
one.
Yeah, you only get one.
All right, well then, who's next?
That's also, I'm also a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. I lied about being 2 years old when I was like 5 or 6, but I just wanted to make sure you couldn't read me. No, but I've been watching football my entire life, and the funny thing is my grandfather actually hated the Dallas Cowboys, and we weren't my family wasn't a big football family until my mom.
Why did he hate the Cowboys?
I have no clue. He just wasn't. I
never
don't even
asked
really
him?
think. I don't even really think he liked football. To be honest with you,
He
was more of a.
Fuck that sport.
Yeah, he was
Throwing
like
that ball around.
He was like a
Go read a book.
Watch the luchas kind of guy. Like he would
yeah.
watch the Mexican wrestling, but
I was like, lucha.
Man, he was old school.
Yeah, he was old school, and it was my uncle who actually I want to say it was my uncle who actually got me into football. I'd say, but my mom's high school band actually played at a Dallas Cowboys game when she was in high school. So my mom's actually been a Dallas Cowboys fan since I'm assuming her sophomore, junior year of high school.
Yeah.
So we kind of grew up, and there was a point in time when I was living in Wisconsin, and it was when Troy Aikman and Brett Favre were the top 2 quarterbacks in the entire league, and it was always who's better, so forth and et cetera. And I lived in Wisconsin. Everybody there was a cheesehead. Everybody was a Green Bay Packers fan, all of them. So me and my mom and my younger sister all got a lot of guff for being Cowboys fans. So I've been a Cowboys fan since forever, and then I moved over here.
But you won that debate at the end of the day.
Yeah.
All the Super Bowls.
Yeah, exactly.
Back
then,
Yeah,
so,
back then.
and then I moved to Texas thinking everybody here's got to be a Cowboys fan. Well, it's not necessarily true. There's a lot of people who hate the Cowboys here in Texas.
See, when I first started talking to y'all, I knew with each of you individually that you could handle the emotional roller coaster of real estate. Because the Dallas Cowboys are your team. I just was like, oh, they can take the highs and the lows. This is going to be great.
And then, I played football throughout high school, so that was That was a lot of fun. So I've been watching the Dallas Cowboys since I was a kid, and now you talk about Dak Prescott. He's my boy. I just got a jersey from him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just got a jersey from him. I got his jersey on my.
He signed it.
Yeah, no, he sent it to me. He wants to have tea. He wants to have tea on Tuesdays from now on.
I hear he's a big tea drinker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but he's my favorite player right now. Is Dak Prescott. He's a really good football player.
I actually have Elliott's jersey.
Yeah, so we're huge Cowboys fans. What about Marco?
Well, honestly, to be honest, I don't really watch very much sports, but I do live in San Antonio, and I do like the San Antonio Spurs. They are great in so many different ways. It sucks that I'm in San Antonio, so I'm saying I like San Antonio, but I think if I were in a different city, I would still enjoy them. I think just the way they represent the city, the way they act, and those type of things. But quite honestly, I watched sports here and there, occasionally Super Bowl come on, and my parents were into it. I watched some college games here and there. But I didn't really learn more about the sport like basketball until I was invited on a fantasy league. And so I was like, I asked them how it worked, and they were telling me, you just got to line up your players, and they're going to have all these different categories, and you have to watch the stats. And I was like, well, I don't really watch much on sports, but you're talking numbers, you're talking math, I can do that. So then I started playing, and that year I won the whole league, which made me laugh. And so then from then on out, and by the way, I did that without watching any games till the very end. I did it all through watching the stats.
That's pretty
but after that, I kind of paid attention. So I'm knowledgeable about basketball. I know what's going on. I know who's on what teams. I don't watch very many games because, honestly, I don't have the time for it. But I would say San Antonio Spurs.
San Antonio Spurs. That's a good team to like, by the way.
Yeah,
it's a good team to like.
So if you're watching and you're Tim Duncan or Dak Prescott or Ezekiel
Elliott,
Zeke the Freak.
Yeah, do a shout out. Tag us.
Yes,
give us your
tag
question.
us.
We'll answer those.
Yes, we will. If you guys want to know about real estate, wholesaling, anything, even though you guys are huge stars.
That's right. Okay, so thank you for watching. I thought this was a fun one.
I think so too.
We did great.
I'm pretty funny.
Episode 3, we brought it. We showed them what was up. We answered those questions. We even talked about some piggybacking and everything else.
Yep.
So we are having more episodes. Leave your questions in the comments. Give us some real estate ones. Give us some fun ones, and we'll answer them. And we want to give you plenty of value. Plus, if you like, you share, you comment, we would really appreciate that as well. So see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Talk to y'all later.
So everybody knows that wholesaling in real estate can be a great opportunity to control your workday, to bring in lots of money and kind of unlock the doors to real estate investing. But there are a lot of struggles and hurdles and problems that come along with being a wholesaler on your own. So what are some of those problems that people face every day?
I can get started. One of the problems is that they're not really too sure of what to do with themselves. You can read as many books as you want, and you can get as much information as you want, but a lot of the times people have a problem starting because they don't really know where to start, and they don't even know if they're doing the right thing. To be honest with you, they want to make sure that they don't mess it up, but I mean, it's just a huge problem to getting that first step, getting that first action completed. Is one of the biggest problems. Right.
Yep. Another problem is wearing too many hats. You're always having to look for buyers. You're always having to look for sellers. You're in communication with the title company all the time. You're trying to figure out all your systems, the CRM. You're doing all the tech stuff. You might be looking for a virtual assistant and trying to go through the process of hiring somebody like that. You're having to do every little component, so that can be overwhelming in itself.
For me, I still get asked these questions. What do I do to generate leads? And when I was by myself, I only knew one way to generate leads. And now that I'm with Hilco, there's all kinds of ways to generate leads. And so that's one thing that I've learned, or that I've picked up by joining Hilco, is that there's so much knowledge here on this team. I mean, 10 plus years.
Right.
and then about what 3, 4 maybe.
About
So I mean, combined.
He keeps adding years.
I
to
keep
that.
adding years.
I
The
don't
fish
know.
just keeps getting bigger. I swear it was this big when I caught it.
I know. So combined about 14 years, and me as a newer wholesaler, like I said, I've been doing it about 3 months, but he tells me all the time, and I actually notice, like when I go to these seminars or these events, he's like, dude, you're light years ahead. And sure enough, like these people say I've been wholesaling in 6 months or 7 months or 8 months, and like I find myself answering their questions in my head, like how do they not know that? Like
Even people who have been wholesaling for 2-3
Yeah,
years,
like-
or I've seen people who have been wholesaling 2-3 years ask him questions that they don't know the answer to, but he does. And he's
and
been
be
doing it
surprised,
for-
like I actually catch myself telling wholesalers like do this, and I'm like, and I've only been doing it 3 months, but I just have so much knowledge because I'm with this team. It was the best thing that I could do for myself to get where I want to get to.
So if you're someone out there that you're wholesaling by yourself and you're encountering problems not only on the side of like always trying to get the next one, but also problems with consistency, keeping the momentum going, and not being overwhelmed and stressed all the time, we at Hilco Homes, we're a wholesaling company here in Central Texas, and we do a pretty good volume. There's a pretty good team, and we're looking for people that want to join us, that want to be part of our system. Some of the benefits that we provide to people that join us is we always have leads for you to work. You're part of a system-oriented approach, so we have CRM systems, we have calling systems, you have access to a virtual assistant. What are some other benefits of being part of the team?
For me, it's if I have a question, Juan's sitting right here or Marco's sitting right there, and it's just like versus calling somebody or leaving them a text message and waiting for an answer to come back. You're sitting right here with the team. I mean, it'll just make the process and everything a lot more faster to get to where you want to get to faster. For one, for me, the biggest thing is cost. Leveraging cost to generate leads and to generate each other's and piggyback off of each other's stuff.
I think that's the biggest benefit is having people there who are not only are they able to answer your questions instantaneously, but we're also able to you're also able to see us structure these deals so you can learn by watching. Apart from just asking, you're seeing us negotiate, you're listening to us negotiate, you're listening to us, you're watching us write out the contracts, you're listening to us do all these things, and you just pick up on that stuff. You soak it up like a sponge a lot of the times, and before you know it, you know more than what most people know just by joining the team. So it's a huge benefit to have people who are like-minded and working towards the same goal in the same area, so that you're not struggling to climb that mountain by yourself. You've got a team helping you.
We're definitely a team. This is Tim Duncan over here, and this is Kawhi over here, and
Pop.
All right, I'll pop. I have to yell at him every once in a while. But we're always trying to give support. We're trying to give knowledge. We're trying to accelerate your growth because we don't want people just to be wholesalers. We want to help them become investors as well. And you get access to all the different components. We'll pay for leads for you. You have access to our buyers list and access to all of our systems. And we're looking for the right people that are not afraid of rejection, not afraid of hard work, and are willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish their goals, because quite honestly, that's who we are. And we're trying to build our team so that all of us can be successful. So if you're interested, send us a message, reach out to us. You can message these guys, and we'd be glad to talk to you more and give you more information about our hiring process and see if you can be part of the team with us. So we're looking forward to having you come out.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Talk to y'all later.